Happy New Day, CSA. Yesterday, in this very hall, we had our creative seminars on the topic, practicing the presence of God. After the seminar, I told Reverend that he has done all the work that I need to do today for me. Because what I was going to talk about, he has said it all. Last 2 weeks, we talked about what karma is. I could not finish the presentation. So, this week, which is today, we are going to continue. But let me refresh your mind of what we discussed the last time we talked about karma. In the Bible, quoting from the book of Isaiah, chapter 55, verse 11, he said, "So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth, and it shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the things wherein I sent it." You can replace the word by action. Say, "So shall my action go forth, and it shall not return to me void." Or you can replace it with energy. What Isaiah was talking about is that whatever we send forth shall definitely return to us after it has accomplished that which we sent it forth to do. It did not say that the word that cometh forth out of his mouth shall return to you, but it says shall return back to himself. We said that karma, the meaning of karma means action, in fact, to do. Whenever a cause is set in motion, cause, C-A-U-S-E, a cause is set in motion, then an action has taken place. This action is then acted upon by forces of nature which obey a natural law known as the law of karma, or the law of cause and effect, or the law of action and reaction, or the law of sowing and reaping. We also said that when an action is initiated, either intentionally or unintentionally by us or by somebody else or by the environment, our reactions, the reaction that we give to the effect of that action that is returning to us, is what we call our experiences. And these experiences are impressed upon our minds And we call these impressions karmic pattern. Our karmic patterns are stored in different levels of our mind and are in various stages of hibernation, such as latent, dormant, or active. When conditions are ripe, they are activated and impel us in some particular ways. The effect of this new action generates some more reaction from us, which in turn create new experiences and are again impressed in our mind, waiting for the appropriate time to become active. These cycles of actions and reactions go on from incarnation to incarnation. Apparently, it's as if we are in bondage to these actions, because the initial action creates more action, which creates more reaction. This reaction creates more action, and so on and so forth. These karmic habits develop our habits. The habits turn into our character, and the character into our personality. And finally, this puts us on a trajectory that leads to what we call fate. So it means that we are responsible for our fate. And if we are responsible for our fate, it means we can change it. How do we break away from this bondage of action? How do we change our fate? And this is what we are going to look at today. So today's topic is breaking the karmic pattern. How to break the karmic pattern in our life. How to change the fate of our life. The innate nature of the soul is freedom. But the free will of man and the need of man to explore and indiscriminate indulgence of the four primitive urges led man into bondage. The primitive urges are food, sleep, self-preservation, and sex or procreation. These are the primitive urge. They form the basis of all other desires in various combinations. To break from bondage, we must have freedom from the bondage of action, which means one does not necessarily have to act out of habit, but one is free to make choices. The second freedom is freedom to be free from the bondage of thoughts. It also means that the third, we have become free. It means one has to become free from the primal forgetting of one nature. If you forget your true nature, It means you are ignorant. You are ignoring your true nature. To achieve this freedom, there is a need for intentional, specific actions that we need to take. This requires commitment on our part. It requires determination. It is not anything that you think within one day you will do. No. Remember that the karmic patterns have been accumulated over incarnations. And some are very, very latent. But one day or the other, they need to play out. So it will not take you 1 day, 1 month, 1 year to get freedom for these things. You need determination, consistency in order to achieve this. These are the actions that we need to take. They are in 3 groups. The first ones are the 5 observances. The second one, the 5 restraints. And the last one is the almighty meditation. Ignorance. What is ignorance? To ignore something, the thing, in such a way that you become oblivious of the existence of the thing. One of the ways to restore awareness is to practice the presence of God. This Reverend has elaborated on yesterday at the creative seminar, so I will not talk about it here again. Now, when you look at the actions that we need to take, the first 2, that is the 5 observances and the 5 restraints, help us to break our habit, the habit that we are exhibiting now. And it helps us also, they help us also to regulate the active karmic pattern that are yet or that are about to come out. So the observances are the inner work that we do to break our habit, to change our character, and to rebuild a new personality. The restraints are the actions, the outward action that we take to do the same things as changing our habits, breaking our character, and building new personalities. These are the things that the 2 things do. Let's look at them in details. The observances, there are 5. We have cleanliness or purity. We have contentment or happiness. We have self-discipline. We have study of the nature of consciousness. And then self-surrender, or to surrender to God. Let's look at them in details. Cleanliness or purity. Physical, environmental, and mental purity. This is what we are talking about. Cleansing and purifying both our external environment and our internal bodies require some practices, such as exercises, hatha yoga exercises. When I say exercises, you don't need to do rigorous exercises. If you are somebody whose work doesn't require you to walk plenty around, then you must find means, a way to compensate for this walking. So you can wake up early in the morning or late in the evening, do some walk around. You can also do hatha yoga exercises. Hatha yoga means yoga for health. Pranayama, or breathing exercise. These help us to take in enough oxygen into our body and also to direct the energy within us to do some particular functions that we might direct them to do. I remember when we came here first, the Reverend organized some hatha yoga classes, but a lot of people don't come. Eventually, they stop coming because they were expecting some magic, miracles that will happen. But then these things require consistencies, and they work slowly because they are working deep, at deeper levels of the body and the mind. If we are ready again, I believe Reverend will start organizing it again, and they will all take part of it, in it. And then meditations. These practices help to cleanse and strengthen the body and the mind. We must consciously endeavor to keep our environment clean. We must eat properly and drink properly. We should not let the environment poison our system. We should not let the food that we eat poison our body. The drink that we take in are supposed to nourish and not to destroy the body. We must choose our friends so that they don't poison our mind. We must also become conscious of the type of entertainment we indulge in. Entertainment is supposed to be recreative, not destructive. If you think you've gone for an entertainment and at the end of the day, you are totally exhausted, weakened, then it is not an entertainment. Entertainment is supposed to be recreative. So even the type of furniture we use at home or at work, you must choose it wisely so as to not put impediments in the way we move our bodies. The next thing we'll talk about is contentment or happiness. Contentment combines the words happiness and satisfaction together. So when they say somebody is content, it means he's satisfied and happy. Okay. We must be content with what we have and avoid craving for things that we do not need. Let us make the difference between needs and wants. You might want a lot of things, but we don't need them. I might like to have about 20 cars for me alone. Do I need 20 cars to move about? No. So clean needs. What possession? The practice of contentment fills us with gratitude for life blessings. You don't need to accumulate unnecessary things for you to feel that the universe has done so much for you. No. The next one we have to talk about is self-discipline. This practice also helps develop a strong willpower. With self-discipline, one is able to focus on whatever one has put his mind to do. It is about doing something you may not want to do, but that thing has a positive effect in your life. So because it has a positive effect in your life, you must bring your will into exercise to do it. And that is self-discipline. The next one is study of the nature of consciousness. Last 2 weeks, I said that the basic nature of man is consciousness. So if you want to study the nature of consciousness, it means you must study yourself, self-study. By studying yourself, and if you understand yourself, you understand the universe, you understand God. So self-study, self-examination, and self-reflections are needed. Observing your thoughts is very important, because your thoughts eventually become your actions. So when the karmic patterns are arising, they will appear first as thoughts in your mind. That is when you must examine them. Is it positive or negative? Before you allow it to come out. You must examine your emotions and inner state. Emotion is stronger than intelligence, but right use of intelligence can channel the emotions to do the proper things that you want to do. You must always examine your inner states and learn what is happening inside you. How are you feeling in your mind? How are you feeling in your body? You need to be conscious of this. This involves contemplation on life's lessons and meditating on revealed truth. You know, truth has been revealed to us by our gurus, sages of ancient times. But we need to contemplate on it and own it, acknowledge it. That is when you know the truth. It's not only hearing it. Through self-study, we discover our divine, our true nature. When we talk of divine, we mean godly. This will lead us from ignorance to the deeper truth within us. The next one is self-surrender to the divine. Surrender to God, to a higher power. This can be achieved through devotion or love for the divine. Surrender the ego sense, that the individual sense, and allow the larger true nature, God, to express. This helps us to recognize our interconnectivity and find our purpose. If you surrender to God, you will discover the purpose for which you are here. It allows us to release the ego and trust in a greater wisdom beyond our individual self. That is surrendering, to surrender to the divine. These are the 5 observances. Let us now look at the 5 restraints, which are the physical, mostly physical actions that we need to take to break our habit. By resisting and restraining and regulating the destructive impulses, that is habit, their opposite characteristics are cultivated and perfected. So we need to practice non-violence, by exhibiting kindness, compassion, doing away with violence and violent intent. It means refrain from harming others, from harming yourself, and also refrain others from harming us. It is not a cowardice action. So you said that I'm practicing non-harmless, then you allow people to take advantage of you. No. To practice harmlessness, that is non-violence, you need also to prevent people from harming you. The next one is truthfulness. Total commitment to truth in your intentions, words, and actions. The third one is non-stealing. It means not taking what is not freely given. It goes beyond physical theft to include mental, verbal, and societal aspects. The fourth one is wise use of resources or energy. It means control of physical impulses, excess physical impulses. You need to control them. Refraining from excessive sensual pleasure, which leads to depletion of bodily and mentally energies. We must endeavor to break the bonds that attaches to indulgences and addiction. If you are able to do this, we gain knowledge, vigor, and increase in energy, which we can use to do worthwhile things. The final one of the restraint is no possession, no possessiveness, no accumulating. This no possessiveness is against hoarding of or clinging to possessions. Possessiveness in relationship, for instance, people think they own their spouses or their partners. They think they possess the partners. It is not so. So you must watch of possessiveness in relationship and attachment to situations, to people. This non-possessiveness encourages detachment and freedom from material desires. It also encourages generosity. If you have the thing in excess, you need to share it. These are the actions that you need to take so far as we are looking at the restraints and the observances. So far as we are looking at the observance, let us look at meditation. Before I talk about meditation, I want to explain something to you. At the point of conception, when the sperm and the egg come together and fertilize, the first thing that is produced or created is the brain and the spinal cord. At that point, the soul or the spirit move into it and start programming the brain and the body, the particular body that the soul is coming to use according to the karmic pattern that it wants to play out in a particular incarnation. So it takes time, 9 months in case of human beings, to create that body that it will need. At the point of birth, when the body or the child comes out and takes in the first breath, the soul's nature to explore and feel what is around him compel the soul to send forth its awareness to the 5 senses of sight, touch, taste, smell, and hearing. These are the 5 senses that the soul moves its awareness to, and want to find out what is happening around it. In doing so, it takes attention from itself and repose this attention into the physical body. In other words, the soul ignores its true nature as consciousness, now sees the body as itself, because it has moved all attentions, all awareness to the extremities of the body. You want to feel what is outside. So as the child is growing, gradually, the soul forgets its own nature and look at itself as the limited body that we see here. So that is why when we are meditating, we are asked to sit still. We draw attention from the senses and send it back inside where the soul is residing. In doing so, the energy within the soul, the fire, the soul's fire becomes rekindled. And this fire, which becomes active, acts upon the latent karmic patterns that has been accumulated in your past incarnation. They are so latent that they are subtle, but one day or the other they will come to the surface. So this soul fire, during our meditation, goes and burn it, weaken it, regulate it, and dissolve it. By constant meditation, we bring attention from the body back to the soul. So we go back to take what we ignore. So we get rid of what? Ignorance. And then we begin to act from the point of the omnipresent, the point of the pure consciousness, the point of the spirit. Meditation is the highest action that you can take. And we need to meditate at least twice a day. Sorry, at least once a day. If you cannot do it twice a day, at least once a day. To send your attention back to your source. And when you know the truth, which is your true nature, then you shall be free. From last 2 weeks to today, I've tried to let us understand what karma is, how karma is formed, how karma develops into our personalities, how karma determines our fate. And today, I've tried to explain how we can break this karmic cycle, how we can change our habits, how we can rebuild our character and personality with positive karmic patterns. I hope I've been able to reach you for you to understand the message I want to give you. God be with you. Namaste.